The skyscrapers of the upper core are designed to pierce the clouds and capture the city's ambient manna. But down in the outer rim, decades of industrial soot and acidic rainfall have stained the functional concrete blocks dark gray. Traveling deep into this deteriorating district via a scratching transit railcar, Kaelen watches the transition with a blank, exhausted stare. His destination, Anvil Ridge, doesn't look like a traditional academy. It's an old 5-story manufacturing plant, and the perimeter is entirely wrapped in chain-link fence and razor wire. The city government doesn't send students here to learn. They send them here to quarantine the failures of the manifestation ceremonies from the rest of society. Inside the freezing main auditorium, the ambient chatter of shivering freshmen dies completely the moment instructor Horgan steps to the podium. You can see what resources this academy has by looking at Horgan's left arm. It's a heavy, unpolished prosthetic that looks decades out of date. He outlines the curriculum with blunt efficiency: basic physical conditioning, low-tier survival theory, and occupational training for factory placement. The government provides nutrient paste and a roof, but zero financial stipends. When a student asks about training gear or essence crystals, Horgan openly mocks the idea. If they want resources, they have to take odd jobs clearing mutant pests or sweeping up debris after the real hunters finish their work. The system has written off these Tier D and Tier E students entirely. The academy is designed to extract whatever menial labor they can provide, leaving their actual survival completely up to chance. Later, in a cramped concrete dorm room that smells of rust, Kaelen ignores his roommates as they wallow in misery and discuss impossible system appeals. He sits on his thin mattress, isolates himself, and focuses his mind entirely on a metallic sensation humming deep within his right hand. His interface expands far beyond the baseline attributes of a Tier E student, revealing target criteria that now process material components, organic matter, and crystallized essence. The city treats Tier E citizens like raw industrial resources. If a corporate lab discovered a glitch capable of refining raw essence, Kaelen would likely be seized as a proprietary asset. He can't just be a high achiever. He has to look exactly like the broke, struggling reject the system expects him to be. That evening, Kaelen heads down to the damp, unsupervised basement of the main building, approaching a solitary guild terminal. The board is full of low-paying, hazardous sanitation jobs, the exact type of undesirable work that elite hunters ignore. He selects Task 114, clearing an infestation of mutant vermin and imps out of a disused cold storage unit in Sector 9. This chart compares the guild valuation of an imp against Kaelen's new system. On the left, harvest costs outweigh the reward, marking it as waste. But on the right, Kaelen's red filter turns that same carcass into raw attribute points. The Academy considers these pest control assignments to be a punishment. Kaelen is using that exact lack of oversight to quietly harvest resources and build his power. Before he can leave the basement, an older student leans against a pillar and warns Kaelen that taking on Sector 9 alone is a quick way to get his ankles chewed off by imps. Kaelen instantly drops his shoulders, widens his eyes, and physically shrinks his posture down to project pure anxiety. He stammers out an apology, explaining he's a broke freshman scraping together a few credits to afford something better than standard nutrient paste. The older student snorts and shakes his head, accepting the performance completely, and waving Kaelen off to what he assumes is a brutal lesson. The senior sighs, completely convinced. To him, Kaelen is just one more broke kid, taking a suicide mission for a meal. He turns away without a second thought, leaving Kaelen to head for the gates, entirely unnoticed. He walks off the campus grounds, stepping alone into the freezing evening air, and heading toward the abandoned, shadowy warehouse blocks of Sector 9. Leaving the streetlights behind and confirming he is alone, the terrified freshman act disappears. He straightens his spine, his expression hardening into cold, predatory focus. He adjusts his grip on the heavy iron crowbar he rented for 2 credits, preparing for the swarm of creatures waiting inside the cold storage. The city placed him in this district expecting him to either break or die quietly. Instead, Kaelen has secured a private, unmonitored hunting ground, using their complete indifference to quietly fuel his own progression.